Hi everyone and welcome. Today what I'm going to show you is how to make a runner for your bed. This is the fabric that I'm going to be using. I was going to actually make, I didn't have a big piece of this, so I was going to make some sleeves and put it in a top, but this is the same colour almost as the bottom of my bed, so I'm going to make a runner in it instead. So can you see how the edges are scalloped? So I've got that on both sides, so that's going to be a nice finish hanging down off the bed. And how I worked out what measurement I need, I basically went upstairs, laid the fabric on my bed, and then this was one piece which basically I folded in half to give me the width to go across my bed. The measurement for my bed, each piece was 56 inch. Because it wasn't long enough, because it's a Super King bed I've got now, I need to join two pieces to give me the width. So that's going to be 112 when it's finished. And then what I did, I worked out how wide I wanted it. Because this, you can have it any width. You can have it narrow, you can have it wider, you could even make it wider and fold it over. It's completely up to each individual. So I worked out that I wanted mine to be 16 inch wide. So I actually trimmed 2 inch off the width of this, but allowed for seam allowance. And then I was going to line it in a black lace, but when I've got it out, I haven't got anything that looks good on it, because I took that up, laid it on my bed, looked how it looked, and it didn't look right. And I also was going to put some black tassel, and it was fancy tassel that I actually took off a top that I had. It was a top that I'd bought from Mataland, and the first time I wore it, I was walking to the ladies and the tassel got caught on something that was on the wall, and it dragged me back with such force that I twisted my ankle and nearly ended up on my butt. So basically I wasn't wearing that again, but I was certainly going to utilise the tassel because it's all crisscrossed and then it just hangs down at the end. It's lovely, but I cannot find it for love nor money. It'll turn up when I've done it. So what I'm going to start off by first of all then, where you've got these fancy edges, I'm just going to overlap them like so and stitch in the middle, so I've still got the fancy edging. Okay, so let me just reposition this so you can see what I'm doing. Put my glasses on. Run out of way. Let's have a look. Okay, so what I've done there then, just show you, I've literally overlapped it like so and then stitched it basically straight down the centre. So I'm going to line it in this. There's actually stretch in this, but it's almost identical colouring, so it's perfect backing for it. So I'm just going to stitch this down the centre. And because this is going to be, it's like lined, you don't need to overlock it or zigzag anything, because it's all going to be inside, and you're not going to see it. Back like that, and I'm just going to run it through. And as I'm sewing this, I'm just using the first marker on my needle plate as a guideline for the seam. Down, back tacking and pulling it out. Okay, so that then again is joined. Right, so what I'm going to do now I'm going to actually go and pin it together. So we're going. So we've actually come in my kitchen now then to actually pin this together. I normally do it on my dining room table, but I've got things on it, so I have to go to the kitchen surface. So what I've started off by doing is I'm laying the two pieces on top of each other, right sides together. And I'm going to start in the centre. Okay, so I'm just going to pin there. Then I'm going to pin at this centre. And then I'm going to do this side first. And as I'm doing, I'm going to pull this down and just keep laying this. So that I'm making sure that I'm getting it nice and flat, so that when it lays on the bed, you're not going to have no where it runches up, so it's all going to lay flat. Now, I did try doing this with clips, but you need pins for something like this. Because anybody that knows me knows I hate working with pins. But here we are. So again, laying it flat. Just pull that underneath because there's a little bit of a... Making sure it's all flat. Now what I'm going to do at this end, I'm going to this, you can see this is longer, because that's the fancy edge that I don't need to put a seam on, a hem on, sorry. But the bottom, I do need to put a hem on. So I'm just going to clip that, so I know where to stitch that once I've done down the sides. It just needs to be a little bit shorter than the fancy scalloped edging. Okay, so that's that done, and then I'm just going to pin that right on the edge, making sure that the bit turned up is on it, in where I've pinned. Okay, so that's that side done. So let's do the opposite side, exactly the same, where we're going to pin it. Making sure it's laid flat. Okay. Make sure it's all laid flat. Right, so I'll just pause it a bit while I just finish this off. Okay guys, so what I've just been doing now is I've just been going down all of the runner, basically marking it, and I've decided I'm going to do it 16.5 width wise. So I'm just put the pin in there before I go any further. So I've gone all the way down with my tape measure, because with certain fabrics such as lace and certain knits, they don't cut out straight like a cotton would. You get a crisp cut on a cotton. Things like this, you don't, there'll be a bit of a, so I'm just marking it to 16.5, marking it at both edges so that when I sew it, I know that hopefully it's going to be straight. So I've got my tailor's chalk and I'm marking one side and the other side. I'm just trying to get it centre. Let's just get this on the end. And then that is all marked up from top to bottom, ready to stitch down, back to the machine. Right, okay then, so we're going to ready to stitch it up. Rightio. Right, so I'm going to start with the lace on top. And I'm going to start on the chalk line where I've chalked it. Doing the back tack. And I've got to say, when you're doing a back tack, make sure you're doing a back tack, because 2 stitches, if you're going to wash it, it ain't going to hold it. Okay. Back tack on the end. Let's flip this round and do the opposite side. just turn that off for a sec, because what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to go and cut the excess fabric off from both sides of the seams. So I've just trimmed all the excess off both sides, and I've turned it the right sides. So on the ends, all that's left to do now, do you remember on the backing I turned it in, didn't I? So pinned it like so, but obviously the scallop, I want that hanging over. So simply all I've done is, after I've turned it right sides, I've simply just pinned it on the top, making sure that I don't see the backing on the proper side. So it's just, you can just see, so it's just below the scallop line. Right, so I'm just going to stitch these two sides down. I'm just stitching where the scallop goes across the bottom of where the scallop is. So that's what your back looks like, and then on the front, get the next side done. Right guys, so that is finished. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press it, and then we'll take a look at it on the bed. Okay guys, so this is the finished runner. And I have to say that I'm really pleased how it's turned out. I love the texture of it, the little fluffy bits, and as I said, the colour is not a million miles off the base of the bed, so it sort of picks up on it. But with runners, the sky's the limit. You can line them, not line them. On the ends you can put trims. You could even make it like an envelope, the back of an envelope, you know, where it goes down. You could shape it. You could make it reversible. You could even make it into a table runner. Even make it for your chairs, little runners to go over at the back of your chairs. The sky's the limit. And also, I was having a bit of fun when I was walking up the stairs to put it on the bed and had it wrapped around my neck. A scarf. You could make a cool fabric scarf, but obviously maybe a little bit shorter. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. And see you soon. Bye for now.